I don't think, at this point, the Resident Evil series needs an introduction. It is a long-standing testament to the survival horror genre, and has had many games, some amazing and some not so much. The latest entry, Resident Evil Requiem, is set to release on February 27, 2026. And in anticipation for this game, I went and finally played through Resident Evil 7 and 8, the games that, to many people, revitalized a franchise that had begun to lose its way, going back to horror as the focal point, and adding in a healthy dose of slasher violence and deranged comedy. But something that surprised me while playing through these games, especially doing so back to back, was their emphasis on the theme of family and the exploration of the idea of horror in family. It takes the over-the-top craziness of the Baker household, or the gothic horror of the titular village, and brings it back down to earth, giving a solemn look on the idea of love and acceptance, and how the bond of family can blind us to the truth, or how something presenting as love can actually be used to control or manipulate. The Resident Evil series has usually focused on the theme of profit and ideology over human life. Umbrella's experiments and their disregard for who got hurt in the process led to the Spencer Mansion incident, the events of Raccoon City, and the deaths of millions of people. Oswald Spencer, the founder of Umbrella, believed that humanity was destined for downfall, and turned to viruses and eugenics to remake the world in his image. This often goes hand in hand with families being torn apart because of the actions of the few at the top of the pyramid. The Resident Evil Remake expanded the story of Lisa Trevor and the horrors done to her and her mother by Spencer during the events in the Arklay Mountains, leaving Lisa to wander the grounds, longing for her mother. Claire Redfield, one of the playable characters in Resident Evil 2, initially comes to Raccoon City to locate her brother Chris, and Sherry Birkin's story highlights both neglect on the part of her parents, who are researchers for Umbrella, and found family at the end as she leaves with Claire and Leon. What we've seen of Resident Evil 9 so far shows that Alyssa's actions in trying to expose Umbrella causes not only her death, but danger for her daughter, Grace, whom she desperately wants to protect, which could be seen as the idea of cyclical trauma in families, although we'll have to wait for the game to fully release in order to explore that idea more. Resident Evil 7 and 8, however, put family ties and loyalty at the front and center, with Ethan Winters willing to go to hell and back for his family twice. Now is the time to warn about spoilers. If you have not played these games and wish to avoid spoilers, please turn this video off and come back once you have finished them. Resident Evil 7 BioHazard begins with Ethan Winters receiving a message from his wife, Mia. Mia has been presumed dead for 3 years, so this message is a shock to say the least. Her message tells Ethan that she is waiting for him in Dulvey, Louisiana, and he needs to come pick her up. So he arrives, walks down the long, swampy drive, and comes face to face with a family that has been completely overtaken with some type of mold that makes them virtually indestructible, mutating them into monsters and granting them supernatural powers. This mold comes from a bioweapon named Evelyn, who has overtaken the Baker house and morphed the Bakers into her new family. While 7 does continue the theme of profit over human life that we discussed earlier, with Evelyn and her treatment as an object rather than a person, and the sloppy way she was transported leading to the death of nearly everyone on the transport ship and the infection of the Bakers, 7 also tackles the theme of family, and the hidden horrors that can lie therein.
Me, Mommy?
No, Evie, I'm not mad. Wait, what did you call me?
I don't want to live at the lab anymore. I want a house, and I want you to be my mommy.
Okay, Evie. I'll be your mommy. Just come back with me. Right now, okay?
What Evelyn wants, or at least what she thinks she wants, is a family, though her idea of what family is warped by her being raised in a lab with no real parental figures. In her mind, family are people who love you unconditionally, and if this love has to be forced, then so be it. Of course, because this love is forced, it can never be real, and Evelyn laments this at the end of the game when you confront her.
You.
Why does everyone hate me?
She doesn't or can't understand how to truly love people, or what it would mean for someone to truly love her. Therefore, she cannot create a true found family. Her family must be forced to love her because that's the only way she understands how to love. We see this during the flashback where we play as Mia, with Mia trying to placate Evelyn in order to get her to stop by promising that they will be a family. But this promise is a lie, and Mia says that in a fit of anger later.
Now do you remember?
Yes, Evelyn. I remember.
Can we be a family like before?
No, Evie. We can't be a family. We were never a family. We will never be a family.
Evelyn connects family with lying and deceit, or with being coerced into doing something with the promise of love. Evelyn's character, while undeniably sinister, also invokes empathy from the player. Even Ethan, upon watching her die, quietly says, "Goodbye, Evelyn," as if understanding in those final moments that this was just a child who never had a chance. After the confrontation with Mia, Evelyn escapes the ship, and she finds and takes the Bakers, who are much more malleable to her influence. The Bakers, from the brief snippets we see of them pre-infection, were kind, loving people who lived in a cozy house and had 2 good kids, Zoe and Lucas. Jack insists to Ethan, when they talk through the mold, that he and his family would never do these horrible things, and that Evelyn forced her way into their minds and caused these deaths.
Hell, I never would have if I could have helped it.
What do you mean?
I'm no killer, son. Neither is Marguerite, nor my boy Lucas, or even Zoe here. That girl, Evelyn, she did this.
Now this seems logical. Evelyn is a dangerous bioweapon with a child's understanding of the world, and the Bakers were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But if you're paying attention, you realize this is not the full story of this family. Lucas, from the notes we find around the house, already had mental instability before the events with Evelyn. In the banned footage DLC, we can find his "you" list on his laptop, writing down frustrations he had with his family. The last note here is interesting, as he says that his dad got drunk and started throwing Lucas's stuff onto the veranda, hinting that Lucas and Jack's relationship wasn't great even before everything went down, and that Jack may have been an angry drunk. But writing an angsty digital diary is one thing. Lucas's story is much more disturbing than that. A journal you can find in the house indicates that he locked his school bully in the attic and listened with delight as his screams for help became weaker and weaker. He even complains about the smell that is seeping from the attic, likely the decaying corpse of said bully. What's troubling about these notes is that there was a child screaming in the attic and a smell that must have lasted for a while, and Jack and Marguerite noticed nothing? Or, more disturbingly, were they choosing not to notice? Now, it could be argued that these notes are lies and Lucas just thinks he did these things, as once you enter the attic yourself, there isn't a sign of a dead child. But this event happened a while ago, so that gives him plenty of time to clean it up. And these notes are just sitting out in the open where anyone could see them. Even if these are fantasies and nothing more, wouldn't parents be concerned that their child is having these thoughts? Wouldn't there be some sign that they took him to a therapist or consulted someone about these violent thoughts? It's mentioned he had a head scan, but that's it, no deeper psychological test. Finally, we learn toward the end of the game that Lucas is not infected. He was cured in exchange to keep tabs on Evelyn. Again, profit in exchange for human life. He eventually betrayed even the researchers, though, wanting to take the mold for himself. His little saw traps aren't a result of Evelyn's mind control. They are purely him, indulging in his own twisted fantasies. Jack and Marguerite Baker, and maybe even to an extent Zoe, were perfectly willing to ignore the horror festering in their own home long before Evelyn showed up. They let it grow and simmer, and when Evelyn did come in, and Lucas was given free rein to act out his jigsaw persona, Jack still places the blame on outside factors, saying that his boy wouldn't do such things. His family could not do these things. How many red flags were they ignoring before? And what red flags did they go on to ignore with Evelyn? Ones that Zoe seems to catch on to as Evelyn's influence became more and more palpable.
All right, little girl, let's get you cleaned up.
They're mine now.
What?
Resident Evil 7 BioHazard shows how the idea of family can be distorted and twisted, focusing on the dangerous idea that a family must ignore the evils of their children, as Evelyn wants from her family, and as the Bakers have done with Lucas. But it also shows the lengths that someone would go to for their family, as Ethan pushes through the horrors to rescue Mia, even after almost being killed by her mind control state. He doesn't let anything stand in his way, and his relentless perseverance becomes a defining part of his character, which is reinforced as we play Resident Evil Village. When we start Village, Ethan and Mia have settled into a quiet life, trying to put the events of Louisiana behind them, with their daughter Rose. At the beginning of the game, Mia reads Rose a local story about a girl who becomes lost in the woods and meets many strange beings. This is a clever way to introduce our rogues gallery of villains that we'll meet throughout the game, while also being brilliantly animated.
The horse grew angry and summoned the other monsters. Terror filled the girl's heart as the wild wind rose around the beasts. Suddenly, a witch appeared, dark, yet regal.
Ethan worries that the story is too scary, but Mia assures him that Rose doesn't mind, and anyway, won't remember regardless. After Ethan takes Rose to bed, he and Mia start getting into presumably another spat about Louisiana.
At least we're all together. You, me, Rose. Now, everything's gonna
Seriously? Think we can just forget about what happened in Louisiana?
It happened so long ago. I don't understand why you are so...
That is, until Chris Redfield bursts through the door, shoots Mia several times in the chest, and takes off with Ethan and Rose. Ethan wakes up later to the truck destroyed and Rose gone, wandering through the woods, much like the girl in the story, until he stumbles on the village.
Where the hell am I?
Resident Evil 7 gave us a classic series of horror set pieces: scary house, scary basement, scary man with a shovel, as well as allusions to other horror properties, such as Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Saw. Resident Evil 8, on the other hand, presents itself as a fairy tale, a gory, blood-soaked children's story of the Brothers Grimm variety, which often feature evil or malicious mothers, specifically stepmothers, such as Hansel and Gretel and Cinderella. This takes our focus from horror and family, evil families being a common trope in horror, such as Hereditary or Get Out, and narrows it to horror and motherhood, which ties in nicely with the gothic fairy tale aesthetic. Mother Miranda is our main villain and fills the role of the evil stepmother to the four lords, as well as the witch to Rose and Ethan. Mother Miranda's family is made up of said four lords: Alcina Dimitrescu, Donna Beneviento, Salvatore Moreau, and Carl Heisenberg. All of them refer to her as mother and take on a sibling-like relationship with each other, although they don't seem to like or even trust each other at all.
Mother Miranda, I must protest. Heisenberg is but a child, and his devotion to you is questionable. Give the mortal to me, and I will ensure he is ready.
Shut your damn hole! And don't be a sore loser! Go find your food somewhere else.
Quiet now, child. Adults are talking.
I'm the child. You're the one who's arguing with Miranda's decision.
You wouldn't know responsibility if it was welded
Oh,
to
keep
that
growing! One day your head might actually fit your ego!
Hey, don't I get a say in this?
Silence!
Miranda, in turn, does not treat them like her children, but forces and coerces this loyalty from them by giving them their powers, land, and keeping them subjugated to her. And yet, she still expects them to behave like her children, accepting all her decisions with a yes ma'am and kowtowing to her authority. Miranda's motivations for all this are revealed later on, which further emphasizes that she does not love or care for her four children. They are all stepping stones to getting what she ultimately wants, which is her real child back. She plans to use Rose to do this, which is why she pretends to be Mia to kidnap Rose, and uses Ethan to take out the four lords, her other children, something that all the lords, aside from Heisenberg, are oblivious to. These other children, in the end, mean nothing to her at all. Each lord offers a take and representation of the theme of horror and motherhood, and even to an extent horror and childhood, although none of them are children, yet they take on childlike qualities to a greater or lesser extent because of the mother-like relationship with Miranda. None of them have, truly, been able to grow up. They are all trapped in their Neverland of sorts, completely at the whim of a leader who doesn't care whether they live or die, as long as they obey their mother.
Silence! My decision is final. There will be no argument. Remember from whence you came.
Alcina Dimitrescu is the first lord you face, a sultry vampire lady with 3 vampire daughters, who are made of flies, She hunts you as you make your way through her castle. Of the lords, Alcina's relationship with Miranda is rocky, as she questions her choices and even flat out decides to ignore them at one point in order to kill Ethan, though not directly to Miranda's face.
Mother Miranda, I regret to inform you that Ethan Winters has escaped that fool Heisenberg. Because he is in my castle and has already proven too much for my daughters to handle. When I find him... No, Mother Miranda. Yes, of course, I understand the importance of the ceremony. I won't let you down. To hell with the ceremony! That man will pay for what he's done.
She wants to stay in Miranda's good graces, which means playing the role of the dutiful daughter. However, she is a mother herself to 3 daughters, and she, unlike Miranda, seems to genuinely love and care for them. She becomes distraught and angry as Ethan takes them down, swearing to find and kill him despite what Miranda wants because he hurt her children.
Cassandra? Cassandra? No! How much blood and sweat do you think it took to raise those daughters? You have incurred an impossible debt!
Alcina and Ethan seem to have the most in common of the 4 lords. They are both willing to do anything for their children and become vengeful when their children are harmed. In Alcina's case, this means going against what Miranda wants, despite what the consequences may be. She cares for her daughters more than she fears Miranda. Donna Beneviento's manor is by far the scariest and tensest section of the whole game. Donna's section taunts Ethan with information yet to be revealed, things that Mia has been hiding from him. But there are 2 parts of Donna's section that I think are really interesting in terms of horror and motherhood. The first is the main enemy that Ethan must avoid, which is a giant, unkillable fetus who screams and cries at you as you run through the halls. This could be read as birth is a mutative, destructive thing, the destruction of a woman's body that transforms you into a mother in order to bring a child into the world. Notice how the main puzzle for this section involves literally taking a doll of Mia apart. The dialogue we get from Mia here hints at the truth about Ethan that we get later in the game. That being that he is technically dead and is made up of mold.
Oh God, no. I can't do Ethan. Anything but this. Please, Ethan, listen to me. I didn't want to keep it from you.
Mia?
I didn't want to lose you again. I didn't want to destroy this family.
Mia, what are you talking about?
I love you both so much. I had to. I had to do it.
You mean you didn't think it was weird? No matter how much you got hurt? Remember.
It also shows that Mia may have known about Rose's own powers and decided not to tell Ethan in order to protect him, although how much she knew is debatable. Mia has taken on all the stresses of this situation, and Ethan is terrorized by a creature that embodies these fears about potentially being pregnant with a monster. Of course, we know that Rose turned out, at least in appearance, mostly normal. But that does not remove Mia's fears about what Rose might mean for their family, or what might be revealed as Rose grows up.
I keep telling you, it's not Rose that I'm worried about.
Well, then what are you worried about? Look, she's gonna be fine. I just know it. What else matters?
We matter, Ethan! You matter! You just
Mia, what are you talking about? Is there something you're not telling me? Come on, talk to me.
Secondly, we can double back and look at Donna herself. Donna is quiet and subdued, preferring to communicate through her doll Angie, who is depicted as having a more forceful personality.
I wanna see. He's awake.
Miranda describes her as being underdeveloped and says that she divided her Cadeau among her dolls to control them from a distance. Donna sees her dolls as her friends, and perhaps even her surrogate children. So using this method to control them creates parallels between her and Miranda, although Donna's is much more sad than evil. The one line of dialogue that we get from Donna as herself, as opposed to speaking through Angie, is when we finish with the terrifying basement and confront her in the house.
Don't leave. I can't let you.
Her cadence is soft, far from Alcina or even Moreau and Heisenberg later, and it isn't until she picks up Angie that she is able to attack Ethan and try to stop him. She cannot act without Angie, like a security blanket that leaves you feeling numb or tense without it. So who truly is she, Donna or Angie? I think this is left intentionally vague, but Angie may be a glimpse into who she would have been if she had emotionally matured. The contrast between the all-black and all-white, and even the fact that Angie appears to be wearing a wedding dress, add to this theory. Of the four lords, Donna is the one that is most childlike, and that is exploited by Mother Miranda, who brings her in and makes her part of a family again since her parents died by suicide years earlier. She clings to Angie, a doll made for her by her father, and she is always shown wearing black, items typical of mourning. She never seems to have progressed mentally past her parents' death, making her an easy target for manipulation and control.
It's over.
Salvatore Moreau is a fishman and the most mutated of the four lords, with strong the Shadow over Innsmouth vibes. From his fish-human hybrid look to the flooded, destroyed section of the village where you fight him. Moreau is an outcast, seen as useless and dumb by his siblings. He desperately wants to kill Ethan because he believes that if he does, Mother Miranda will love him best and see him truly as a son. Of course, we know this will never happen, and that makes his desperation all the more sad.
Wait, please, if you take it, then the others will laugh at me. But if I do better than them...
What do I care?
He is a man yearning for a mother's love, and has struggled and fought to get it with no avail.
What are you talking about? The fuck is wrong with you?
Even as he is dying, he screams for his mother, who does not answer his calls and never speaks of him again after Ethan's final encounter with him. His words in his boss fight even echo Evelyn's in Resident Evil 7. Why do you hate me? What makes this interesting is that it is left ambiguous whether he is talking to Ethan or to Miranda, who probably isn't even listening at this point. For all his loyalty, he cannot get Miranda to see him as anything more than a failure. Finally, we have Carl Heisenberg, the last Lord standing and the only one who seems to have some idea of Miranda's plot.
Listen, Ethan, you're being played.
What are you talking about? You think this is a game?
I said sit!
He actively hates Miranda, hates what she did to him, and wants to kill her in order to become free. Unfortunately, he wants to use Rose to do it, so Ethan vetoes that idea, and has to fight his way through the creepy, disturbing factory anyway.
It's a test. To see if you're strong enough to be a part of Miranda's family.
I don't want to be a part of Miranda's family.
Neither did I, but here we are. And I'm next in line, right? Kill me, move up the chain. Well, fuck that!
I don't give a damn about your personal issues. I just want to fix my daughter.
So do I. Do you have any idea how powerful that kid is? Even Miranda's scared of her. You and me, Ethan. Together, we can go save Rose, and then we can use her to grind Miranda into paste.
My daughter is not a weapon.
But Heisenberg's motivation for trying to team up with Ethan, his building of an army, and wanting to use a literal baby as a weapon, is because of the subjugation that Miranda has put him through. She is a mother who won't let go of her children. They are adults, yet they have no say, no free will of their own. He cannot leave because Miranda won't let him, and he can't have a life outside of his village because that is where Miranda has decided he belongs. Heisenberg's desperation to be free controls his actions throughout the game, from his declaring, "Let's see what you're made of," to Ethan in their first encounter, hinting at his plans to try and create an alliance with him, and the implication that he is the one spreading yellow paint over everything, guiding you to help get you from place to place. Heisenberg's story shows motherhood being used as a cage, and his disloyalty to her and wish to destroy her may have saved him, but his arrogance and unwillingness to listen killed him in the end. Two traits that he shares with Mother Miranda, interestingly.